What if everything you call reality was nothing but a reflection, a breath shaped by something you carry without even noticing? Breathe that thought for a moment, but not in a rush, not like someone who breathes because they must. Breathe like someone remembering a secret etched into their skin. Feel the air brushing your ribs. Feel the sound of your chest from the inside out. Because that's where everything starts to take shape, long before any wall, any bill, any story you were told about what is possible. Maybe no one ever told you this while looking into your invisible eyes. But the truth is, the world does not bow to your force, your voice, or your shouting. It bows to what vibrates in the silence you hold when no one is watching. There's a difference between wanting and governing, between wishing and embodying. Most people live on the surface, repeating pretty words while underneath, the ground leaks contradictions. You've probably felt it, that tight knot in your throat when you try to claim trust. But deep inside, a small voice whispers, "Really?" Aleister Crowley whispered it for few to grasp. "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." But this wasn't permission for reckless whims. It was a reminder that there is a will that cannot be forced, a will that can't be learned in shiny books, a will that is born when you sit alone with your ghosts and in silence teach them to dance to the same rhythm as your pulse. Maybe you are trained to believe that everything gets solved through effort, that all you need is to repeat motivational phrases, write your goals in golden notebooks, wish until it hurts. But here's a detail no one sells, because it doesn't fit in a quick promise. If what vibrates inside you is a beggar, it doesn't matter what throne you draw in your mind. Energy is the sovereign no one sees, but it moves everything. And when it is incoherent, the world obeys what's deepest, not what's loudest. Look at your own story. How many times did you try to bend the world? Tried to hold back time, command the tide to stay? Made promises to the sky, demanded signs, shouted in the dark. And what came back? Silence, repetition, an echo. Because bending reality is not ripping strength out of your chest. It's weaving silence. It's taming first the chaos that lives behind your eyes. It's sealing the cracks where your power slips away without a sound. There's a lie whispered in modern temples, the idea that controlling everything out there means freedom. But few realize that control doesn't start with the other, or with the future, or with destiny. It starts in the frequency you guard like a blade hidden on your tongue. That's where real magic is done. That's where the ancient right rewrites itself every time you stop repeating the lies you were taught and start listening to the sound your field makes when no one else can hear. You want to bend reality? Then understand this now. What is solid was born fluid. What is visible was born invisible. What is form was born sound. Everything you call impossible kneels when you become the sole ruler of your own field. But this is not a power for your ego to boast about. It is a silent priesthood. It is a memory that burns but frees. It is a calling that makes no noise. So if you're still here, breathe. Feel your spine. Feel your skin. Feel the pulse that belongs only to you. And let this question hang inside you like a flame that doesn't go out. What if reality was nothing but an echo? An echo shaped by who you are when no one is watching. Because maybe, just maybe, all the world is waiting for is for you to stop trying to bend it and start remembering how to bend yourself first until nothing inside you contradicts what you were born to command. If you can, don't answer now. Let that question keep piercing you in silence as we move forward to what lives behind the veil. There's something inside you that betrays your own dreams before they even learn how to stand. It's a traitor no one teaches you to recognize, because it doesn't shout, it doesn't slam doors, it doesn't tear up your declarations. It whispers beneath every promise you make to yourself. It's the silent saboteur, the invisible space where your vibration tells the truth your mouth tries to hide. You felt it, even if you never gave it a name. That moment when you declare, "I want prosperity," but a thin crack of fear opens up behind your chest like a hairline fracture. You smile at the world saying you trust, but deep down a question gnawed by fear knocks at your ribs. What if it doesn't work? The body knows before you admit it. The body never lies. Crowley spoke of the will as a silver thread, delicate, absolute. While it's intact, it's a bridge between what you dream and what becomes real. But all it takes is a cut, a tiny gap of doubt, an anxious thought left unguarded, and the spell bleeds out into the ether. The desire, once alive, loses strength. What was meant to be a seed turns to dust in the wind. No one likes to admit they are their own thief, stealing what they want most. It's easier to blame the world, the government, karma, misaligned stars. But the miracle never breaks out there. It breaks inside. On the night you go to bed, promising strength, but dream of scarcity. On the day you make plans, but tap your foot non-stop, letting the field know there's no solidity there. Think of it now, like someone staring at a clay cup, meant to carry water from a sacred spring. You fill it confident, but you don't see the fine cracks that let every drop slip away. You do the abundance dance, repeat mantras, write imaginary checks. But inside, the vessel still groans with fissures. The water won't stay. The river never overflows. And it's not punishment. It's not bad luck. It's just vibration telling the truth. As long as you deny me, I'll escape. While you try to hold the outside world together, you ignore the leaks that drain everything. While you blame the wind, you forget the hole is in the vessel. So stay here for now. Don't rush to patch cracks with pretty phrases. Just look inward. Ask where your energy leaks out, where your will bleeds dry. And feel the quiet weight of this realization. A vessel only carries the whole river when its walls are whole. Will only governs when vibration, in silence, confirms everything your mouth dares to promise. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Just want it. Ask the universe. Repeat the magic words. Stick affirmations on the fridge. Imagine fat checks falling from the sky. They say, think positive and everything will come. But what no one tells you is that wishing is just noise when there's no silence inside to command the field. Desire shouts, but vibration whispers the final order. And the universe doesn't listen to noise. It listens to frequency. Maybe no one ever told you this for real. Maybe no one ever said that loud wanting is just smoke when there's no real fire burning underneath. The Kybalion drew the map. Everything that manifests vibrates before it exists. There is no form without sound, no wealth without resonance, no love without an inner tone that echoes. But those who sell shortcuts forget to warn you. Thought without frequency is just mental dust spinning in circles. Look closely at this. How many times did you repeat a mantra in the morning, but spent the rest of the day clenching your jaw, afraid nothing would change? How many times did you visualize prosperity, then close your bank app with a heavy chest, mumbling lack that slips off your tongue without you noticing? The field doesn't negotiate. The field reflects. It doesn't give back your phrases. It gives back the sound that lives behind them. Some swear they're attracting good things, but vibrate fear between every sweet word. Some pin travel photos on dream boards, but wake up every night sweating from the lack that pulses in their ribs. And so, what arrives isn't what was asked for. It's what was vibrated. The universe doesn't understand "I want." It only answers "I am." Picture an old tuning fork, forgotten on a wooden table. If it's cracked, no matter how hard you strike it, it will never ring clean. You can strike it harder, repeat it 1,000 times, shout that you believe. Nothing changes, because the problem is not the strength of the desire. It's the purity of the note. It might sting to accept that luck is not just luck. It's vibrational coherence. That bad luck isn't punishment. It's the dissonance between what you say and what your field hums when the world goes quiet. If you see this now, something opens. Not to promise that everything gets fixed overnight, but to remind you that when the silence inside is tuned, the world outside has no choice but to dance to the same music. And if wishing is noise, vibrating is silence. And only in silence does reality bend. Everything else is distraction sold as a formula. Because those who know the real sound know, a spell is not a word. A spell is the tone that rises from the depths when the noise finally dies. There are people who swear they're doing everything right. They think, they feel, they repeat, they plan, they visualize, they pray. And yet the desire dies at the door, as if something beyond the visible blocks its path. And the truth is, there is something. Invisible gatekeepers, as ancient as the blood that runs through you, as silent as the hidden pacts you never realized you inherited. Maybe you've never thought about this, that part of what you want isn't blocked by the world out there, but by old agreements living inside, pacts buried in your flesh, imprinted in memories that aren't just yours, memories passed down, repeated, recycled, emotional inheritances that hide behind pretty names like family, culture, destiny. Picture your desire as a messenger. It's born in the center of your chest, gains wings on your tongue, flies to the edge of the veil that separates the visible from the invisible. But when it gets there, it finds sentinels guarding unseen gates. And these sentinels carry living codes, fears, shame, ancestral vows that stand up like invisible walls, blocking what threatens the old structures they were sworn to protect. Maybe you carry fears that aren't yours. Maybe you crave freedom. But deep inside there's an old promise made generations ago that says being free means being rejected. Maybe you want to prosper, but inside there's a buried guilt that whispers, if I grow too much, I'll abandon the ones I love. So the gatekeeper does its job. It isn't your enemy. It's the protector of an agreement you haven't dared to break. How many dreams have you inherited? How many desires are really scraps of wills that were never yours to begin with? How many fears do you repeat without knowing? As long as you don't name these gatekeepers, your desire keeps knocking but never passes through. The key to unlock this boundary isn't force. It's recognition. It's opening your eyes in the dark. It's facing the password carved into your bones, the one you pretend not to see every time you sabotage yourself in silence. Picture the key in your hand, cold, ancient, heavy like a secret you keep avoiding. This key opens nothing until you remember the true name to whisper at the gate. And that name lives where few dare to go, in the parts of you that still carry old pain like stone walls. Until you speak that full name, the veil stays whole, and the desire waits on the other side for you to become the one brave enough to open what's always been yours to command. You were taught to believe your mind is the queen of the game, that everything is solved if you think the right way, repeat the right phrases, program your brain like you train a muscle. And yes, there is power in the mind, but not the power you were promised. Because the brain is just a transmitter, it was never the creator. The true creator lives in a field the mind alone can't touch. Look at the placebo, a pill made of sugar that heals real pain because someone believed. Look at the nocebo, a venomous word that makes the body sick because someone believed. Placebo and nocebo are not cheap magic tricks. They're proof that reality is more porous than it seems. They whisper that matter obeys frequency first, thought second. And frequency doesn't come from the mind alone. It's born from the alignment between mind, body, and the unseen field around you. Picture your brain as an ancient instrument, full of strings that vibrate day and night. Every thought is a finger plucking those strings. But the real sound doesn't stay trapped in your skull. It spreads, crosses walls, speaks to the field that holds everything you call your world. A thought that's out of tune strikes a broken note. An unspoken fear hums a dissonance that ripples out, finds resonance in other places, and circles back to you as coincidences you call bad luck. So many people repeat mantras, say affirmations, force themselves to think positive like someone painting over a wall full of hidden cracks. But the mold always comes back. Always. Because there's no point painting the surface when the structure underneath is still broken. Positive thinking is pretty, but it's fragile when the real vibration is confused. And the field, this invisible sea that surrounds you, is not naive. It isn't impressed by your words. It's moved by the frequency you hold when those words fall silent. Have you noticed how some people, even when they say nothing, seem to shape everything around them? That friend who walks in and the atmosphere shifts. The person who barely speaks, but everything flows toward them. That's not blind luck. It's vibrational coherence. It's a spell cast without candles. Just a presence so aligned, the universe has no choice but to echo it back. Those who understand this stop begging for techniques. They stop chasing 1,000 methods, promising to bend the world. Those who understand this become the ritual itself. They sit in the dark, listen to their own strings, tune each note until nothing inside clashes with the field. Because in the end, it's not the brain that bends reality. It's the frequency you transmit through it. And that frequency only blooms when your body, mind, and shadow speak the same sound. Everything else, no matter how pretty it sounds, is just noise. At the center of your head lives a reliquary, so small that modern science almost treats it like a leftover detail, a biological museum piece. But the ancients knew. There pulses an eye that doesn't see walls. It sees through them. An eye that doesn't look outward. It pierces inward. It's the pineal gland, your forgotten temple. In civilizations buried under the dust of time, this point was treated as a living portal. Atlantis, Egypt, sunken temples, ancient cults that spoke of the Eye of Horus. They all pointed to the same center. Not because it was some mystical fashion, but because they understood a truth now buried in books no one reads anymore. Every form is first born in the darkness this eye deciphers. The pineal does not bloom in noise. It's like a night flower. It only opens when the noise hushes, when the excess dies, when the outer lights fade so the inner light can ignite. But we live in times addicted to glare. We trade the healing dark for screens that never sleep. We confuse brightness with clarity. And so this eye withers, becomes a myth, a joke, a meme for cheap mysticism that never touches its real root. Close your eyes, not to escape, but to feel. Chosen darkness is fertile. Silence is not empty, it's seed. It's there, in the dark, that forgotten frequencies return. It's there that you hear the sound of what doesn't have form yet. It's there that will, the same Will Crowley called law, finds a stage where no one else can interfere. You might try to force this eye open. Many do. But it does not surrender to hurry. It offers itself as a reliquary. The more silence, the clearer the vibration. The more absence of noise, the stronger the vision. And it's not a vision of magic images. It's vision of coherence. It's a way of seeing that doesn't look, it feels. A way of seeing that doesn't describe. It confirms. The Eye of Horus, carved into ancient stone, was never just a mystical symbol to impress initiates. It was a reminder. Whoever sees in the dark creates light. Whoever sees the invisible with the inner eye sketches the visible into existence. The pineal is a compass, but it doesn't point outward. It points inward, where pure will drafts the first outline of reality. Maybe right now you feel a subtle calling, a tingle behind your forehead, a warmth no one can explain. Don't ignore it. It's just a spark. But every fire begins that way. Hold on to this truth. Your third eye doesn't want to see the world as it is. It wants to see the world as it could be, if you dare to trust what you hear when everything outside finally goes quiet. And maybe, in that silence, you'll see. The greatest architecture of will never depended on opening distant portals. It's always been pulsing at the center of your own inner night. Maybe the biggest trap for anyone trying to bend reality is believing that everything works if you just squeeze harder, holding on tight, like someone trying to hold water in their hands so it won't slip through. But anyone who has ever tried to hold water knows. The tighter the grip, the faster it escapes through the cracks. The same is true for will. The more tension, the less flow. The more fear of losing, the farther drifts what you're trying to hold. There's a law whispered in the Kybalion, rhythm. Everything has flow and return. A heart doesn't beat unless it expands and contracts. The ocean doesn't breathe unless it moves forward and back. Everything alive obeys this invisible pulse. Whoever tries to block the rhythm dies of thirst at the river's edge. Because bending is yielding. Bending is releasing. Bending is becoming so fluid inside that the hardest stone finds nowhere to root itself. Whoever forces the field to obey only ties knots, and knots vibrate tension. Tension calls chaos. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is planting a seed in the invisible, burying it with care, covering it with fertile silence, watering it with calm breath. Those who let go know. It's not the hand that works the miracle. It's the field. It's the rhythm. It's the tide that understands the command, not through words, but through the coherence of the gesture. Picture Atlantis, not as a distant myth, but as a living metaphor. A civilization that, they say, shaped stone like clay, not by force, but by fluidity, by understanding that the solid bows to what is subtler. Those who were fluid ruled what was rigid. Those who knew the sea did not fear the rock. Those who mastered the rhythm became it. That's why controlling is different from commanding. Controlling is trying to hold water in your hands. Commanding is carving a river inside yourself. The river knows where to go. The river understands time. The river is patient, and the rock cannot resist the water that insists. Will is the same. It doesn't need to push. It needs to learn to run inside you. It needs to remember that the greatest force lives in what yields, what bends, what releases. Maybe you're here because you're still gripping too tight, afraid that if you open your hands, everything will vanish. But what is yours by coherence doesn't get lost. It reshapes. What is yours by frequency doesn't run. It resonates. What is yours because it vibrates with you doesn't need a leash. It finds you in the silence, at the right time, in the right way. And when it arrives, you won't need to shout, because it was already yours before it ever became visible. So the paradox reveals itself as the final key. Those who release, bend. Those who relax, command. Those who yield, receive what the rigid could never touch. And so the right completes itself. A spell fulfilled not by force, but by surrender. A strength that never needs to prove anything, because it already knows the outer world has no choice but to yield to whoever has become the tide within. We've arrived here, but the part of you that truly arrives isn't your mind, hungry for answers. It's that part of you that always knew, the part that, maybe for just a moment, hid beneath layers of fear, noise, shallow promises. Now, breathe, but breathe differently. Feel every particle of air come in, as if it's washing away what no longer serves you. Feel each breath renews the silent contract you hold with what is invisible but real. Everything we've said up to now was never meant to impress you. It was meant to remind you, to awaken the memory of what Hermes, Thoth, Crowley, the silent sages knew long before the first stone was ever laid. As within, so without. Not as some self-help slogan you stick on your wall, but as a living structure, a pulsing gear that keeps turning even when you pretend to forget. Maybe right now you feel a strange weight, a mix of fear and hope, a chill down your spine that asks, what if it's true? What if everything you chase out there is nothing but a reflection of a field pulsing inside you, shaping streets, encounters, synchronicities, delays, silent miracles? What if the stone you try so hard to move would move on its own, if you simply vibrated like someone who is already a river? Thoth, the scribe of worlds, whispered in languages only silence understands. Every visible form is an echo of laws no one sees. It doesn't matter how many goals you write down, how many vision boards you hang up, how many affirmations you stick to your forehead. If inside you there are still cracks that say no, the universe hears those cracks before any pretty phrase. And it gives back. It always gives back. So the real question isn't, how do I ask louder? It's what is still leaking inside me. Where does my vibration lie about what my mouth tries to proclaim? Which part of me still refuses to release, to trust, to carve the river that carries everything that is mine by right of coherence? Maybe you want answers now, but answers don't come as a shout. They come as a whisper in the dark. They come as that moment when your chest softens, your skin shivers, the silence grows so dense it almost speaks. That's when the field obeys, not your voice, but the music your presence plays without you even noticing. So if you're still here, maybe you never really forgot all of this. You just got distracted for a while, and that's okay. Because the one who gets distracted also remembers. The one who fades out also relights. And the one who listens all the way to the end carries inside their chest a question seed. If everything you desire is already vibrating, what inside you still keeps the law from unfolding? Don't rush to answer. There's no need to rush. Sometimes the answer doesn't come as a phrase. It comes as a breath. It comes as a quiet decision. It comes as a yes that doesn't shout, but shapes. And when the noise out there returns, because it always does, remember what the whisper said just now. Bending reality isn't bending others, or time, or the tide. It's bending yourself until nothing inside contradicts who you truly are. If this journey resonated in your spirit, leave a silent acknowledgement in the comments, an affirmation not for the world, but for your own soul. To keep walking this path of remembrance and awakening, we invite you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. And remember, it's never about what you want. It's always about who you are.